Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Tommy here from Saleslucky, and today I'm going to share with you a tactic that's going to help you get 2 to 3 times more meetings, okay? No joke. All right, so this is what it is. We've all had this situation where we're emailing or we're sending LinkedIn messages or even on a phone call. You know, we share with the prospect what we're about and what products and services and how we're helping other companies, and the prospect says something like, "Hey, that sounds great. It sounds real interesting. The timing isn't right now. Can you reach back out in 2 weeks or 2 months?" Especially at a time like now, right during COVID. And what I notice is that a lot of beginner salespeople, basically, when they hear that, they'll either do with one of two things. They'll either take that as a flat out no. They'll think that the prospect is saying they're not interested and blowing them off, which most likely is not the case. Or number two, they will just hang up right there and follow up in the suggested time in 2 weeks or 2 months. But the thing is, and if you're doing the latter, at least you're following up and taking action, which I commend you for. But the thing is, if you do just that, when you reach back out in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 6 weeks or 6 months, your prospect most likely, in all likelihood, would have forgotten who you are, what you're about, what your business is about, the conversation that you had initially. So what I've been doing, and this is something I learned about 3 years into selling to professional negotiators, procurement professionals, at the enterprise space. And what I've been doing is when prospects say that, well, first of all, before I jump into the actual tactic, you want to get a gauge or understanding of if they're genuinely interested or not, okay? And I'll give you an example. It's a spectrum. Let's say from 0 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. And 0 out of 10 is something like not interested, stop emailing me, take me off your list type of deal, okay? Obviously, they're not interested. 10 out of 10 is like they're super interested. This is exactly what they were looking for, and it's perfect timing. Now, most likely, your prospect is going to lie somewhere in between that, somewhere along that spectrum. And it's your job as the salesperson, as you get more experience, to sense and feel out where along that spectrum they are. Let's say, for the example that I gave earlier, the prospect saying, "Hey, this sounds pretty interesting. This sounds like something cool, something useful. Timing isn't right now. Can you reach back out in 2 months?" What would you say? What score would you give that out of 10? Well, for me, I would give that a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 because they're telling you that this is something that they care about. They're telling you that this indeed is something that is interesting to them and they care about it. It's just timing isn't right. So what you can do professionally is offer up, "Hey, Mr. Prospect, no worries. I understand, timing isn't great right now. Things are pretty crazy over here with COVID and everything. If it's okay with you, I'll shoot over a tentative invite for, let's say, 2 months out. And, we can always move it around if we need to. Would that be okay?" You could say that on the phone. You could, type that out in an email. You could type that out on a LinkedIn message, social media message. And what you're doing here, to break it down, is you're using the principle of commitment because your prospect has told you, one, they are interested. That's commitment. Two, for you to reach back out in a certain amount of time, which is also them telling you to connect at that around that time frame. So what you're doing is being very professional, demonstrating that you are a professional. You value not only their time and your time as well. And it's like the dentist, right? After you go to the dentist for a checkup, what do they do? They make sure to book in an appointment 6 months from now. They don't say, "Hey, 6 months from now, we're gonna call you and try to chase you down to book another appointment." No, that doesn't make sense. You're a professional. You are a professional, and you value not only their time but your time as well. So that's why you're proposing. And you can even let them know that, "Hey, understand you're busy. We're busy here as well. Don't want each other to have to chase each other down. But would it be okay if would it be okay if I sent over a tentative invite for 2 months out, and we can always move it around if we need to?" And in the email, you could say, in the email, you could even say, hey, if it's okay with you, I'll send out a tentative invite for 2 months out, just so we can have something on our calendar, and we can always move it if we need to. I hope that's okay. Please tell me no if you'd prefer not to. What you're doing there is, again, being professional, respecting their time and your time to get something on the calendar, because, again, they had suggested that. That's what they want. And you're giving them an out as well. You're saying, hey, I hope that's okay if I send this over. Please tell me no if you'd prefer not to. And send that email over. Wait about 2 days. Give them ample time to respond to you if they'd prefer not to. And if they do, it's all good. You're not there to be pushy. You're there to be of service. Remember, sales is about helping people. You're there to be of service. Now, after, most likely, because your prospects are busy, who's not busy these days, right? Your prospects are going to be busy, especially if you're selling in the B2B space. I'm actually just, everyone's pretty busy these days. So you're going to send that email over and give them 2 days. Most likely, they're not going to respond. They're going to see that and probably nod their head and not respond. And in 2 days, after you've given them ample time to get back to you, and if they haven't, you can go ahead and send over that calendar invite. Now, it's important to note that in that calendar invite, to remind them of what the meeting was about in the first place, because the last thing you want is to send that invite over and them to not know what it's about, decline it, or even if they accept it 6 months later when time comes around, they see that invite, you want them to remember what the meeting was about and why they had accepted in the first place, right? So this is what I say in the invite. Hey, Mr. Prospect, this call is to learn more about your initiatives or your world and how it pertains to blank, and blank is whatever service or product or space that your ways that you're helping your space you're in and ways that you're helping other customers. And to share with you how we're helping other customers. And then what I do is I'll do a brief agenda for a meeting and 3 bullet points. Bullet point number 1, brief introduction just so you know who we are. Bullet point number 2, understand your world and initiatives. Remember, it's about them, not about your product. And number 3, how we're helping other customers. And how we're helping other customers because, again, it's never about your product or service. It's always about them, their business, their problems, their challenges. And by sharing with them how you're helping other companies just like them, that's going to provide value for them. You're not there to push your wares. You're there to provide value. You're there to share the cutting edge of what's happening in your space and how other companies are benefiting from the value that you're providing them. And what it's also doing is inducing social proof. Because you're sharing with them, hey, look, I'm going to share with you how we're helping companies just like yours, your peers, people in your space, and what business owner or what professional doesn't want to learn about what's happening in their space? Everybody does, right? Everybody that cares. So hope you guys got value out of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it. Please give it a like. And catch you guys in another video. All right. Cheers.